Do I have another one? I have another one. Oh gosh, I heard that one. That one. Oh. Welcome back, everybody. Is it first ice? Absolutely not. But is it the first time that I've been able to make it out to the ice this season? Yes. So I'm extremely excited. Today will be a little interesting. I probably don't have super high anticipations for fish. We'll do a little bit of scouting, but it's more or less to get everything in order. Make sure we don't have to fix anything with the shanty or any of our gears. But I'm excited. I already checked the ice plenty thick, so we don't have anything to worry about as far as that goes. Let's get after it and see if we can't get into some fish. All right, so we are set up right now on a little bit of a point. I've never fished this area, so I don't know what it has on it, but a point's gonna be a good place to start to kind of figure out if there's like a transition, and we'll drop live scope down, see if we see any fish down there. First hole of the season. So I think we got really lucky. There is a little bit of a drop, a little bit of depression from off this point, but there's some pretty heavy vegetation right next to us, about 10 feet that way, and there's fish here, and look to be some suspended fish, so probably they're a little bit bigger, probably pike. So looks like as good of a place as any to start, and we'll see what happens. Drop a couple tip-ups and see if we can't get lucky into a couple fish. So we're gonna put a tip up here. Right on this point is pretty shallow, but especially for early season, it doesn't seem like pike care as much about being shallow, at least in a fair amount of the lakes I've been in. So we'll put this one probably just a foot and a half, 2 feet below the ice. I actually this year am trying out suckers initially. I've always used shiners, but last year towards the end of the year, I did a lot better on suckers, like small suckers, than I did on shiners for both bass and pike. So we're gonna continue with that theory into the start of this year and kind of see if it holds true. Suckers can usually be a little bit more hardy than shiners also, so that's always nice. Just a little fluorocarbon leader, tiny little treble. And we'll let him go. Again, right about 2 feet underneath the ice. Any bass or pike will most certainly see that. We'll pop another hole for our other tip up and then get into the shanty. And it is quite windy, so hopefully we don't have any issues with setting the shanty up, but we'll see. All right, so for my gear for this year and last year for the most part too, I have the Alpha Ion 8-inch hole. Does phenomenally well. I've never had an issue with ice too thick or anything sort like that. I do have 2 batteries for it. I've only ever needed one on a trip. There have been trips where I've drilled 50, 60 holes and still had no problem, like through tons of ice. So I've never needed a second one, but I do have it just because I don't want to get out here and battery breaks, you're kind of in a rough spot. So beyond the auger, for my shanty, I do have the Nanook XT thermal. I got this last year. I absolutely love it. I love the side doors, especially because it just gives you tons more room if you end up fishing with somebody else in that shanty. You don't have to be, stepping over your electronics and over each other to get outside, for a flag or something like that. So incredibly warm. Did really well with heavy wind last year, so nothing but good things to say about that. I'm excited to use it a lot more, and it does have light bars and stuff like that in there, so I plan on doing a little bit more night fishing this year too. So we'll see how that goes. But that's what we got out here. Let's go ahead and take a look at the rods. All right, and for my rods, the one I use primarily is this Tickle Stick. It's 27 ultralight. It does super well for everything, to be honest. I've caught pike on this too, so it doesn't ever really seem to be overpowered by any means. Paired up with a 13 Fishing Black Betty. And yeah, that's I think a new one for me last year also, and absolutely fell in love with this, especially for crappie fishing when you have some of those bites where they bite coming up in the water column. I do have a spinning rod from 13 Fishing. It's a 25 light. Again, I use this a little bit more for some of my smaller rattle baits and stuff like that. Don't use it quite as much. And then if I'm fishing for pike or bass or anything else like that, I do have, I don't even know, it looks like it's a Gander Mountain brand, I don't even know, but it acts much more as like a medium stick. So that's kind of what I have all paired up as far as that goes. I would recommend, especially if you have nice rods, to have some sort of carrying case. I've snapped a rod before out on the ice from a ton of wind, and that's never fun. So I do have a case from Clam. I think I've had this for like 4 or 5 years, and it's done real well for me too. Beyond that, I got Frable tip-ups, just the round ones. I like the round ones just because they seem to keep your hole a little bit more open. Doesn't freeze up quite as quick and keeps all that snow and stuff out. And then as far as our electronics, I do have a cheap camera that I did not bring today, and then I've got the LiveScope 32. So, and I bought that one relatively new into the whole LiveScope push, so I haven't ever upgraded. Haven't really needed to. Last summer I think I used it one time, so I don't really use it a ton outside of ice fishing. Ice fishing, I absolutely love it though, because you're able to eliminate so much unnecessary water so quickly. It really leads to better fishing trips, I think, especially. And especially if you're in a spot and it's nothing but, you know, tiny little fish, it's easy to make that move versus, you know, wondering if there's something kind of around you. Looks like there are some fish down there, so let's get a rod down there and see if we can't get into something. There's a fish. That's a pike. Oh, there's 2 of them. I don't know if we're gonna catch them on a tungsten. Oh, there's them. Oh, good. Eat it. Nope, I won't do it. And that just goes again to show, like with the LiveScope, how useful it can be, because we were in that spot and there were a couple fish, but you just could not make them move at all. So I ended up 15 minutes there, moved back to some spots that saw those pike had moved to, and instantly saw 2 or 3 of them fly on by, and then 15 minutes later another group of them flew on by. So I might have to move my tip ups a little bit further out from that point. It's about 5.5, 6 foot there, and where I'm sitting right now is about 7.5. So we might have to move them out, because that's the second time that I've seen that school of pike, which usually you don't see a school of pike, but that's the second time I've seen 3 of them swim on together. So we'll definitely have to do that. And there are dirt bikes out on the ice that are just going crazy. They're not too close to me, even though they sound insanely close. But they're close to a bunch of other fishermen, and I don't know that I'd be super excited about that if that were the case. But we will move our tip ups a little bit further out. It's getting close to dusk, so I assume those pike are just moving on through, searching for bait. You gonna eat? Got him. That's our first fish. It is not impressive, but that is our first one, all of 3.5-inch bluegill. And it's sad that is actually one of the bigger ones down there. I can see why the bass and pike were in the area for sure. So if all these guys were all that's kind of around. But there was a little bit bigger one that might have been a bluegill. But we'll get a picture of our first fish and let her go. It's not a good one, but I guess that optimistic view is it's only up from here, hopefully. Just as I was packing up, of course we have a flag. that is great. Let's see. Could be a false flag, but it's not spinning, so got low expectations right now. Give her a second, see if there's some wind out here, so it could have just been a false flag. I don't know. I don't know if that was wind or what, but that's definitely not where we set it in the hole. So there's no way it spooled us and pulled. No, we're not spooled. Oh, that was definitely a fish, and it got tangled up and locked. I'm sure that's unfortunate. That's a rookie mistake from a first time out, that's for sure. Oh, is there weight? Weight, or we're in some weeds? No, I don't think so. That was definitely a fish though. Pulled off some line and got stuck in the spool, and yeah, there's nothing there. Oh man, that's unfortunate. So we did have a flag, and took our shiner. So we did have a bite. We just had a failure, but that's why you come out and kind of test everything out. So I'll have to go out and unspool that line to make sure that there's nothing wrapped up or bit into it, so that doesn't happen again. But oh, do I have another one? I have another one. Oh gosh, I heard that one. That one's, oh gosh, that one's stuck too. Oh gosh. Oh, that one wrapped around. No, that one was both of them. How in the world? What happened here? All right, we might have to. Oh, it just got caught around. I don't know that I've ever had that happen. No, it's happened twice. We might have to sit out here for another 5 minutes. Two of them in a matter of legitimately a minute apart. Ugh. Well, that's it for today. One last tip I did want to share with everybody is before you go out your first time, or if the first time that you go out ice fishing is still somewhat warm, to always check your heater. The worst thing is going out when it's single digits or negative, and then that might be the first time you go out and you find out it doesn't work. Throughout summer, it can most certainly accumulate condensation, or you can end up with like spider webs that get built up in there and won't pass propane, so it won't work. I know from personal experience, and it's not a fun thing to do, especially if it's your first trip out and then you end up insanely cold. So I would always check that initially. That's it for today. We did catch our first fish, which is great. It was tiny, which is awful, but it's, you know, only up from there. We did end up with 2 flags back to back. Learned about a new area, so that was great. Clearly need to go back through all of my tip-ups, unspool the line, straighten it out. I must have had a tangle or something like that from last year and cost us 2 fish basically. So that's not good, but that's, I guess, why you have like a first time out and, you know, trial everything. So could have done that pre-season and would have saved us a couple fish, but it is what it is. So you live and learn. As always, if you guys like the video, if you wouldn't mind liking, and if you want to see more videos like it, if you wouldn't mind subscribing, that'd be greatly appreciated also. Until the next one.